the customer in 30 seconds. So my question to you is, in your journey of 3-4 companies that you've been part of, how did you balance the technology and the marketing side of it, or the value proposition of it? What did you do to make it work?
So why do people like Apple products, right? Steve Jobs didn't go out and say, I got this very fancy UI and so on. He said, open the phone, do intuitive things, touch on it, roll your hands, right? Stuff that we all know, and it'll work. That's not work, right? So it is a naturalness that makes it work. So if you have to go and tell somebody, I have this very complex algorithm behind it, it'll solve a problem, but you have to go like this and then, clap 3 times and then, do 15 things, it's not going to work, right? So I think the best technology is one where the technology is invisible, right? Now, enterprise is a different story, because enterprise, they're paying millions of dollars, and and even there, end of the day, I'll tell you, at Selectica we sold the biggest accounts, but end of the day, the demos never sold anything. We had the most beautiful demos, and we were very proud of it. I don't think we sold a single account of the demos. Ultimately, the sales guy has to build the confidence of the customer, that if something goes wrong, there's a guy I can call. I used to be the executive sponsor of every major account, Cisco, Dell, IBM. They had my cell phone number. They had the confidence that they could call me in the middle of the night. If the server stops working, and it's not like, okay, we'll talk to you in the morning. No, they could call me in the middle of the night. I can wake up the right team. I'll get things done. It's those kind of things that ultimately sell. Yes, product has to work, don't get me wrong. But just because I have the best technology and I don't build relationships, don't give the confidence, don't have that customer-facing empathy, it won't sell. So a lot of things have to work. So it's like technology is necessary, it is not sufficient.
First of all, let me start with thanking you for your valuable time. I have a very simple question. Your push technology is also there with other applications. So when you go to Google Play, there's so many applications which are available to download. So as an end user, what makes me spot out and say, okay, this is the app which I need to download. So how do you gather the eyeballs? One is once you get
we don't have an app. There's nothing to download. We'll get to you wherever you are. You don't need to get to us.
Okay.
See, that's what advertising does, right? When you walk by the mall, you don't say, I'm holding this banner, right? Someone has already taken the trouble to know where you're going to drive by and they put up a hoarding. So they have figured out how to get to you. You don't say, I have my phone, and when I open the phone, I'll find out that, Phoenix Mall is running a sale at some place. If someone wants to get to you, they better put a sign, because they know that you go down, Senapati Bapat Road in the evening, and you'll be driving and your eyes will be there and they'll get to you. So that's what we do. We buy space on the apps through advertising, and we figure out where you are, maybe something about your interest, and we reach you. So you never need to download anything. Actually, most consumers don't even need to know about sports apps. So you're in that sense invisible.
Okay, and my next question, which was, because I needed to answer that first one, my next question is actually based on your response to the first one, is then what is the analytics information you're using? Because as a customer, you would have my mobile number and you know which is the places I've gone around and where I've executed that advertisement to buy something. So are you storing that information? Are you using some kind of analytics and demographics?
I don't have your phone number. Okay. That's a no-no. No app will share the phone number, and if they do, they are doing something not quite illegal, but clearly in violation of privacy laws. So I don't know your phone number. I usually don't know your email address unless you opted in. I probably don't know your age, don't know your name, don't know your gender, don't know your income. I don't necessarily know that. Let me put it that way. I may know it, but our challenge is to figure out how to do something without knowing any of that. Right? And that's where analytics comes in. Now, if I knew that, I could do more. If I knew that you're a 45-year-old male who has been looking at Levi's jeans for the last 6 months, of course, that's easy. Anyone can do that. It is not knowing who you are and what you're looking for and so on, and then being able to get to you and show something, and show you 5 times and you don't do something, maybe you get to the 6th one, and then you get to something and what they learn from that. That's where the analytics comes in.
That's okay. Myself, Sudhanshu Rathod. I'm working currently and working with the idea. Thanks for the session, it was pretty good. My question to you, you are earning the revenue from the same person, in the sense, initially when you were with the pull model and later on you were with the push model, the revenues were coming from the same person. Now, is it because that you initially didn't put in when you started, you didn't put in terms and conditions with prospective clients? Is it because that you initially weren't able to generate the revenue, or is something different?
I think it's a matter of scale, right? So in the pull model, how many apps are there? 1 million apps on iPhone, probably 1 million on Android. So if I want to do a pull to the apps, I need to go to the people who are running those companies that are making the apps, do a deal with them and say, look, you should provide something in your app that the user can click on and get the offer. It's a very slow process. I mean, we have been doing it for 2.5 years. We have some of the big name apps, but the amount of traffic we could generate was still pretty low. So the reason why it is a push model is that's how you go to the advertising channel. You become an advertiser and you push. Of course, no one likes advertising, but we all you open TV, you can't do the advertising. You open a magazine, you can't do the advertising. You can't go on the web without advertising. So as consumers are used to it. What you want, as a consumer, what you want is show me something that means of value to me. Don't give me a random ad. So I think the latest surveys are showing ads that are giving value, either in terms of relevance or offers, are actually turning out to be quite useful to the consumer, as opposed to simply saying, come to Phoenix Mall, we have new collection. I don't care what will I get out of that. That is what draws people in. So I think what we're doing is we're doing more offer-based advertising, and it's still early, but I think we are seeing some good traction on that.
We are in the era of internet from the last 15 years. When we see the booming change that we have seen in 2002 and 2003, when will the next booming change we can see? Rapid change will happen.
So if I knew that and I had 100 million to invest, I'd put 90 on that.
That is right.
I have no idea. I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
Tell us about your association with Pune and.
So when you're starting out Selectica, remember this was like mid-90s, very tough to hire people. So we said, okay, we need to have India. We're all Indians, Raj is Indian, I'm Indian. A third guy was Vasudha Bhandar, he's from Pune. Fourth guy was from IT Bombay, so we had like four ITs. And we said, okay, where can we do a center in India? Bangalore, too crowded. Mumbai, too crazy. Delhi was still not quite, there's some things in Gurgaon, some Noida was just starting out. Let's go to Pune. Why? It's close to Mumbai. Great technical. I mean, the one thing that stands in mind is Pune had lots of technical colleges. The only all women's engineering college. So we have technical talent. And people who are in Pune, they like Pune, they don't move out, so there's less churn. And we went to Pune, and I think it's been a good decision. So when we're doing select SpotZart, my co-founder Bobby Yadav, he's a Pune native. So that's an obvious, but even if you're not there, I probably still do Pune. Even though I come from Gwalior, I went to school in Delhi, but I think Pune is a great choice.
Hi Sanjay, I'm Ashutosh. Thanks for sharing your time and your thoughts with us. My question is related to the advertising industry. Something you'll probably not want to discuss much with your customers, but we are all on your side, so I hope you can get them. My question is related to online advertising. We know that online advertising is growing faster, taking up a lot of share from traditional advertising, and at the same time we are seeing how advertisers are sort of moving away from CPM and more into the CPC or the eCPM kind of model. Many times, in my own experience, I've seen that when I'm at sites or when I'm on mobile apps, I many times tend to shut out ads. Many users tend to do that. So is that something which which bothers you, which you are taking into consideration? Anything that you are hearing from your customers about the same? Can you share your thoughts on it?
I think you raised a very good point. So I think you raised multiple things. Let me sort of take a couple of seconds to take them apart. One big discontinuity that shows up is if you look at where the viewership is and where the money is being spent on ads, two things stand out as outliers. In terms of viewership, print viewership is falling dramatically. Mobile viewership is going up dramatically. If you look at money being spent, in proportion to the viewership, print still commands substantial amount of ad dollars. In correspondence to the amount of eyeball time that is being spent, mobile still commands relatively much smaller amount of money. So the biggest shift that's going to happen is money going from print to mobile. TV is still holding. I mean, I've looked at Macy's budget, for example, over the last many years. Macy's used to spend 300 million per year on advertising.